Commander Dae-ho Kim stood on the bridge of the Taeguk's Pride and watched death approach from the stars. Through the massive viewing window, hundreds of alien ships moved like dark clouds across the purple sky of New Seoul. Each ship was 3 times larger than his own vessel. Their black hulls gleamed with weapon ports that could turn his ship into space dust in seconds. The bridge was quiet, except for the soft beeping of warning systems. Red lights flashed on every console. The air smelled of burned circuits and fear. Dae-ho's crew of 200 souls worked at their stations, but he could see the defeat in their tired faces. They had been running for 3 years since Earth fell. Now there was nowhere left to run. Captain Bo-ram Lee approached him with a datapad in her hands. Her uniform was torn and dirty from their last battle. Dark circles surrounded her eyes. She had not slept properly in days. "Commander, we have maybe 30 minutes before they reach firing range," Bo-ram said. Her voice was steady, but Dae-ho heard the fear underneath. "Our shields are at 20% power. Main weapons have enough energy for perhaps 10 shots." Dae-ho nodded and looked at the tactical display. The numbers were simple and brutal. 200 humans against 50,000 aliens. 1 aging human ship against a fleet that had conquered half the galaxy. The math was not difficult. "Any word from the other colonies?" Dae-ho asked, though he already knew the answer. "Nothing, sir. We are the last," Bo-ram replied. "The Vorthak Empire has destroyed every other human settlement. New Seoul is all that remains of our species." Engineer Tae-min Park looked up from his station near the back of the bridge. He was only 25 years old but had kept their old ship running through impossible battles. His hands were always covered in grease and his hair stuck up in all directions. "Sir, I could push the engines past safety limits," Tae-min said. "Maybe we could ram their command ship. Take some of them with us." Dae-ho almost smiled at the boy's courage. Even now, facing certain death, his crew still wanted to fight. "It was very human of them, no, Tae-min. We will not throw away lives for nothing," Dae-ho said. "But thank you for the offer." Dr. Hyejin Choi moved between the wounded crew members scattered around the bridge. She was their medic and had worked without rest since their escape from the new Busan system. Her medical bag was nearly empty, but she never stopped trying to help people. "Commander, the wounded are stable for now," Hyejin said as she checked on a young officer with a bandaged head. "But if we take more damage, I do not have supplies to help everyone." Dae-ho watched the alien fleet grow larger on the screen. Soon he would be able to see the details of their ships. The Vorthak were not entirely unlike humans in appearance, but they were taller and stronger. Their skin was gray like stone and their eyes glowed red in the dark. They had been conquering worlds for thousands of years while humans were still learning to make fire. The communication system crackled to life. A deep voice filled the bridge, speaking in accented but clear human language. "Human vessel, this is Admiral Keith Moore of the Vorthak First Fleet. You have fought well, but your resistance ends now. Prepare to receive our terms for surrender." The main screen changed to show the Vorthak Admiral. He wore armor that looked like it was carved from black metal. Scars covered the visible parts of his gray skin. His red eyes stared at Dae-ho with something that might have been respect. "I am Admiral Kethmore, conqueror of the Zephyrian worlds, destroyer of the Altair resistance, and now the one who will accept humanity's final surrender," the alien said. "You have caused us much trouble, Commander Kim. Your species fights harder than most, but you are finished now." Dae-ho stepped forward so the alien could see him clearly. He straightened his torn uniform and met the Admiral's glowing gaze without fear. "I am Commander Dae-ho Kim of the Earth Defense Force," he said. "What are your terms?" Admiral Kethmore's mouth moved in what might have been a smile. "Total surrender. Your people will become workers in our empire. Your technology will be studied and improved. Your history will be forgotten. In time, no one will remember that humans ever existed as a free people." "And if we refuse?" Dae-ho asked. "Then we will destroy your ship and every human on the planet below. Your species will become extinct in the next hour. Choose quickly, Commander. My patience has limits." The bridge fell silent. Every crew member waited for their commander's answer. Dae-ho looked at each of their faces. Bo-ram stood straight and ready to follow any order he gave. Tae-min had his hand on the engine controls, prepared to push them past the breaking point if needed. Hyejin held a wounded officer's hand and gave Dae-ho a small nod that said she understood whatever choice he made. These people had followed him across the galaxy. They had lost friends, family, and their homeworld. They had fought impossible battles and survived when they should have died. Now they waited for him to decide how humanity would end. Daho turned back to the screen. Admiral Kethmore waited with the calm patience of someone who had done this many times before. "You offer slavery or death," Daho said. "Those are not good choices for any species." "They are the only choices the galaxy offers to the weak," the Admiral replied. "Make your decision." Daho looked out the window at the alien fleet. So many ships, so many weapons pointed at his small vessel, and the innocent people on the planet below. 3 billion humans lived on New Sol. Farmers, teachers, children, old people who just wanted to live in peace. All of them would die if he chose to fight. But slavery was not really living either. Daho closed his eyes for a moment and thought about Earth. Blue skies and white clouds. Children playing in parks. The smell of rain on summer evenings. All of that was gone now, but the memory remained. As long as one human lived free, Earth lived with them. He opened his eyes and looked at Boram. She waited for his orders with the loyalty that had kept them alive for 3 years. "It ends here," Daho murmured to her, so quietly that only she could hear. Boram nodded once. She understood. Better to die as humans than live as slaves. But before Daho could speak to the Admiral, a sound filled the bridge that should not have existed. A high whining noise that grew louder and louder. Every crew member froze. They all knew that sound from their training. Though none of them had heard it in real combat, it was the charging whine of a ghost gun. The sound came from somewhere above them, from empty space where their sensors showed nothing at all. But ghost guns had been destroyed with Earth 3 years ago. Everyone knew that. The whining reached its peak and then stopped. For one perfect moment the universe held its breath. Then the silence shattered like glass. The ghost gun fired with a sound like thunder tearing through space itself. A beam of pure white energy appeared from nowhere and struck Admiral Kethmore's flagship. The massive Vorthak vessel, 3 kilometers long and covered in armor that could stop nuclear weapons, simply vanished. One moment it was there, dark and threatening against the stars. The next moment there was nothing but empty space and scattered particles glowing like silver dust. Commander Daho stared at the spot where the flagship had been. His mind could not accept what his eyes had seen. Ghost guns were impossible weapons that Earth's best scientists had barely understood. They fired energy that existed partly outside normal space, passing through shields and armor like they were made of air. But all the ghost guns had been destroyed when Earth fell 3 years ago. The Vorthak fleet erupted into chaos. Ships that had been moving in perfect formation suddenly scattered in all directions, their communications filled with panicked voices speaking in their harsh language. Red warning lights flashed on hundreds of vessels as they tried to understand what had killed their flagship. Captain Boram grabbed Daho's arm. "Sir, look at the tactical display." Daho turned to see more ghost gun beams appearing from empty space. Each shot found a different Vorthak ship. The alien vessels tried to raise their shields, but the energy passed through their defenses like they were not even there. Explosions bloomed across the enemy fleet as ship after ship died without firing a single shot in return. Engineer Taman was running between control panels, his young face bright with excitement. "Commander, I'm detecting massive energy signatures, but my sensors cannot find the source. Whatever is firing those weapons is completely invisible." Dr. Heejin moved closer to the main screen, her medical training making her observe everything carefully. The beam patterns suggest at least 6 different weapons firing from different positions. But there's nothing there. As if answering her words, space itself seemed to ripple about 2 kilometers off their starboard side. The ripples grew stronger until suddenly a ship appeared where nothing had been before. It was smaller than the Teguk's Pride, but sleek and deadly looking. Its hull was dark gray with strange angles that seemed to bend light around them. Weapon ports glowed with the same white energy they had just seen destroy the Vorthak ships. The new ship's communication system activated and a male voice filled their bridge. "Teguk's Pride, this is Captain Jinwoo Song of the Earth Defense Ship Phantom's Edge. Commander Kim, we need to talk. Right now." Daho felt like his world was spinning. Another human ship. Another survivor from Earth's fall. And it carried weapons that could destroy an entire fleet. "Captain Song, this is Commander Kim. How is this possible?" "Earth was destroyed. We saw it happen." "Commander, what you saw was not what really happened, but we can discuss that later. Right now we have about 30 Vorthak ships still functional, and they're calling for reinforcements. We need to leave this system immediately." On the tactical display, the remaining alien ships were indeed regrouping. They had stopped panicking and were forming a defensive formation, while sending urgent messages toward deep space. Whatever reinforcements they were calling would probably arrive soon. Phantom's Edge, what are your orders? Deho asked. Follow us to these coordinates. We have a safe place to meet and much to explain. But Commander, you need to know something important. Earth was not destroyed. It was evacuated. The words hit Deho like a physical blow. Boram gasped and Taman actually dropped the tool he was holding. Hyojin sat down heavily in the nearest chair. What do you mean evacuated? Deho demanded. Everyone you thought was dead is alive, Commander. 3 billion people from Earth are living in a hidden system called Haven. But the location coordinates were split into 7 pieces and hidden across the galaxy. The Vorthak have been hunting these pieces, not knowing what they really are. Another voice came over the communication system, this one belonging to a woman. Captain Song, we have Vorthak reinforcements jumping into the system. 2 battle groups, maybe 60 ships total. Understood, So Young. Teguk's Pride, we need to jump to hyperspace now. Can your ship make the journey to these coordinates? Taman was already checking his engines. Sir, we can make one more jump, but after that we'll need major repairs. Do it, Deho ordered. All hands prepare for hyperspace jump. The Phantom's Edge fired its engines and disappeared into the bright tunnel of hyperspace. Taman engaged their own hyperdrive and the Teguk's Pride followed. Behind them, space filled with new Vorthak ships arriving to find the battle already over, and their fleet in ruins. The hyperspace journey took 6 hours. During that time, Deho could not stop thinking about what Captain Song had said. Earth evacuated, 3 billion people alive in a hidden system. The number seemed impossible, but hope was growing in his chest like a warm fire. When they dropped out of hyperspace, they found themselves in an empty system with only a small asteroid field. The Phantom's Edge was waiting for them near the largest asteroid. Teguk's Pride, please dock with Asteroid Base 7 Alpha. We have much to discuss and your ship needs repairs. As they approached the asteroid, Deho could see that it was not natural. Hidden doors opened in its surface and bright lights revealed a sophisticated base built inside the rock. The Teguk's Pride moved slowly into the docking bay. When the airlock connected, Captain Jinwoo Song came aboard with 2 of his crew members. He was a man of about 40 with short black hair and serious eyes. He wore a uniform similar to Deho's, but with patches that Deho did not recognize. With him came a young woman with intelligent eyes who introduced herself as weapons specialist So Young Han. She was the one who had operated the ghost guns. The third person was a tall man named Intelligence, Officer Wu Jin Kang, who carried a data pad and looked like he had not slept in days. Commander Kim, Jinwoo said as they met in the bridge, I know this is difficult to believe, but Earth's destruction was a carefully planned deception. We made it look like our planet was destroyed while the entire population escaped through hidden jump gates. But we saw the explosions. We saw the planet burning, Boram said. Wu Jin stepped forward with his datapad. What you saw was real fire and real explosions. But they were set by us, not the Vorthak. We destroyed empty cities and abandoned military bases. Every civilian and most of our military had already been evacuated through secret gates that took 3 years to build. So Young added, the Ghost Gun project was part of the plan. We built enough weapons to arm a small fleet of stealth ships like the Phantom's Edge. Our mission was to collect the 7 coordinate fragments that lead to Haven. Why split the coordinates? Heejin asked. Security, Jinwoo replied. If the Vorthak captured 1 fragment, they could not find our people. But if we collect all 7 pieces, we can open the gate and bring our entire hidden fleet back to start taking our galaxy back from the Empire. Deho looked at each member of his crew. They were all staring at the newcomers with expressions of hope and disbelief mixed together. How many fragments do you have? Deho asked. 2, Wu Jin said. We need 5 more. And Commander, the Vorthak are hunting them too. They know something important is hidden in these locations, but they do not know what. We are in a race against time. Where are the other fragments? So Young activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy with 5 points marked in red, scattered across 5 different worlds. Each one will be dangerous to reach. Each one is defended or hidden in a place where the Vorthak might find it first. Deho studied the map. 5 impossible missions to save humanity from exile and defeat. 5 chances to bring his people home and turn hunted refugees into an army of liberation. When do we start? He asked. The first fragment was hidden on Kepler 442b, a mining colony that had been under Vorthak control for 8 months. Intelligence Officer Wu Jin spread out holographic images of the planet on the briefing table. The images showed gray mountains covered with mining equipment and small human settlements scattered across the surface. The fragment is buried in the main computer core of Mining Station 7, Wu Jin explained to the combined crews of both ships. The problem is that the Vorthak have 3,000 troops on the planet and they have been questioning the human workers about hidden Earth technology. Commander Daeho studied the tactical information, while Captain Jinwoo pointed out the defensive positions around the mining station. The alien forces had built energy barriers around all the important facilities and placed heavy weapons on the mountaintops. How many humans are still alive down there? Dr. Hye Jin asked. Her medical training made her think first about saving lives. About 50,000 workers in 12 different camps, Wu Jin replied. But our contact in the resistance says the Vorthak have been taking people for interrogation. Some do not come back. Engineer Taemin looked up from his repair work on a damaged console. Sir, the Taeguk's Pride is not ready for another battle. We need at least 2 more days to fix the shield generators. We cannot wait that long, weapons specialist So Young said. Our intelligence shows that Vorthak science teams are studying the computer systems in all the mining stations. If they find the fragment before we do, they might figure out what it really is. Captain Jinwoo activated another hologram that showed the planet's orbital defenses. The Phantom's Edge can get past their sensors using stealth technology, but we can only carry a small team. Maybe 12 people total. I will lead the ground team, Daeho said immediately. Commander, with respect, you are needed here to coordinate the mission, Jinwoo replied. I have experience with stealth operations. Before Daeho could argue, another voice joined the conversation from the communication system. This is Kyung Soo-yoon of the Kepler Resistance. Can anyone hear this transmission? Wu Jin quickly traced the signal. It was coming from the planet's surface, encoded in a way that looked like normal mining communications to Vorthak sensors. This is Captain Song. We hear you, Kyung-soo. What is your situation? Captain, the Vorthak are planning something big. They have moved all their science teams to Mining Station 7, and they are digging deeper into the computer systems. We think they know something important is hidden there. So Young looked worried. If they find the fragment, this mission becomes much more dangerous. There is more, Kyung-soo continued. The Vorthak commander here is planning to execute 100 human workers tomorrow, as punishment for sabotage attacks. We need help now. Daeho felt anger burning in his chest. The Vorthak had already taken Earth, scattered humanity across the galaxy, and now they were murdering innocent people. We go tonight. Jinwoo, how quickly can your ship reach the planet? 6 hours if we push the engines. But Commander, a rescue mission and a fragment recovery mission are 2 different things. We might not be able to do both. We do both or we do neither, Daeho said firmly. I will not leave those people to die while we take what we need. Captain Bo-ram stepped forward. Sir, let me lead the ground team. You are too important to risk on a planet full of enemy soldiers. Bo-ram, I need you here to command the Taeguk's Pride if something goes wrong. Dr. Hye Jin packed her medical supplies into a portable kit. I am going with the ground team. Those workers will need medical attention after months of forced labor. Doctor, the mission will be dangerous, Jinwoo warned. Captain, I have been treating wounded soldiers for 3 years. I can handle danger. Taemin finished his repairs and closed the console panel. Sir, I want to volunteer for the ground team too. Mining stations use the same computer systems I worked with on Earth. I can help find the fragment faster. So Young checked her ghost gun equipment. I will provide weapons support. These guns work just as well on the ground as they do in space. Wu Jin gathered intelligence files into a secure data case. And I know the resistance contact codes. We will need local help to succeed. As the Phantom's Edge prepared to leave the asteroid base, Daeho gathered his team in the ship's small briefing room. The stealth vessel was much more cramped than the Taeguk's Pride, but its advanced technology was impressive. The walls were covered with displays showing sensor information and weapon status. Our mission has 3 objectives, Daeho explained. First, rescue the workers who are scheduled for execution. Second, recover the coordinate fragment from Mining Station 7. Third, get everyone out alive before Vorthak reinforcements arrive. What if we can only accomplish 2 of those objectives? Jinwoo asked. Then we choose saving lives over saving the mission. The fragment is important, but those people down there are more important. The journey to Kepler 442b took exactly 6 hours. During that time, the team studied detailed maps of the mining facilities and learned about Vorthak patrol patterns from Kyungsu's intelligence reports. The resistance leader had been sending updates every hour, hidden in fake mining status reports. When they reached the planet's orbit, Jinwoo activated the stealth systems. The Phantom's edge became invisible to all sensors, including their own eyes. Only the soft humming of the engines reminded them that they were on a spaceship. Vorthak patrol ships are moving in standard patterns, So Young reported from the weapons console. 3 destroyers in high orbit, 2 frigates covering the main mining areas. Any sign that they detected us? Daeho asked. Nothing. We are completely invisible to their sensors. Jinwoo guided the ship through the patrol patterns and down into the planet's atmosphere. The surface of Kepler 442b was mostly gray rock and brown dirt, broken up by massive mining operations that carved deep holes into the mountains. Bright lights marked human settlements that looked like prison camps surrounded by energy barriers. There is Mining Station 7. Woo Jin pointed at a large complex built into the side of a mountain. The computer core is located 3 levels underground, behind heavy security doors. And there is the execution site, Jin said quietly, pointing at an open area where Vorthak soldiers were building a platform. Daeho watched alien troops moving equipment into position. Tomorrow morning, 100 innocent people would die unless his team could stop it. The thought made his hands clench into fists. Kyungsu, this is Captain Song. We are in position. Where do you want us to land? Captain, there is a hidden landing area in Canyon 12, about 5 kilometers from Station 7. My people have cleared the Vorthak sensors from that area. Understood. We will be on the ground in 10 minutes. As the Phantom's edge descended toward the hidden landing site, Daeho checked his weapon and thought about the mission ahead. 2 goals that might be impossible to achieve. A planet full of enemy soldiers, and somewhere in the depths of Mining Station 7, a small piece of data that could bring 3 billion humans home. The hunt for humanity's future was about to begin. The rescue mission on Kepler 442b had cost them dearly. Commander Daeho stood in the medical bay of the Phantom's Edge, watching Dr. Jin treat 12 wounded workers they had pulled from the Vorthak execution site. They had saved 87 people and recovered the first coordinate fragment, but 33 resistance fighters had died in the battle. Engineer Taemin sat on a medical bed with bandages wrapped around his left arm. A Vorthak energy weapon had burned through his jacket during the escape from Mining Station 7. He was still holding the data storage device that contained the first fragment, refusing to let anyone else carry it. The fragment is definitely authentic, Taemin said, showing the small crystal disk to Captain Jinwoo, but there is something strange about it. The data is not just coordinates. There are technical specifications for something I do not recognize. Weapons specialist So Young cleaned her ghost gun while listening to the conversation. The weapon had performed perfectly during the ground mission, cutting through Vorthak armor like it was made of paper. But each shot had drained more power than expected. The ghost guns are using more energy than they should, So Young said. During the station assault, I could only fire 20 shots before the weapon needed to recharge. In space combat, I can fire 50 times. Intelligence Officer Woo Jin looked up from his analysis of captured Vorthak communications. That matches what I found in their military reports. The Vorthak have been studying ghost gun technology for much longer than we thought. They know these weapons exist and they have been developing countermeasures. Daeho studied the tactical display showing their next destination. Proxima Station was an abandoned research facility, floating in an asteroid field near the outer edge of the Centauri system. According to their intelligence, the second fragment was hidden in the station's main computer core. What makes this station special? Daeho asked. Woo Jin activated a holographic display showing the research station. It was a large facility with multiple sections connected by long corridors. Solar panels and communication arrays extended from its hull like metal wings. Proxima Station was Earth's most secret research facility, Woo Jin explained. They studied advanced physics there, including the technology that became the Ghost Gun project. The station was abandoned 3 weeks before Earth's evacuation, but the computers were left running on automatic systems. Why would they leave it running? Dr. Jin asked as she finished treating the last wounded worker. Because someone was still there, a new voice said from the entrance to the medical bay. Everyone turned to see a man in his 60s wearing a torn Earth Defense Force uniform. His hair was completely white and his face was covered with scars. But his eyes were alert and intelligent. "Who are you?" Jinwoo demanded, reaching for his weapon. "Dr. Sung-ho Baek, former director of the Ghost Gun Research Project," the man replied. "I have been waiting on Proxima Station for 3 years, hoping someone would come looking for the fragments." Daeho stared at the newcomer. "That is impossible. All the Ghost Gun scientists died when the Vorthak attacked the research facilities." "Most of us did die," Dr. Sung-ho said sadly, "but I survived in suspended animation while the station's automatic systems kept me alive. I have been monitoring communications, waiting for Earth forces to return." Taemin stood up carefully, still holding the fragment. "Doctor, can you explain what this data really contains?" "It is not just coordinates." Dr. Sung-ho took the crystal disk and connected it to a portable computer terminal. Strange symbols and technical diagrams appeared on the screen. "The fragments are activation keys," he said. "Not just for opening a gate to Haven, but for activating a network of ancient weapons hidden throughout the galaxy." "Ancient weapons?" So Young asked. "You mean there are more ghost guns?" "Much more than that. The ghost gun technology was not invented by humans. We found it buried in ruins on Europa, along with instructions written in a language that took us 5 years to translate." Dr. Sung-ho showed them images of strange symbols carved into metal plates. The symbols seemed to shift and change when you looked at them directly. The civilization that built these weapons called themselves the Veltar. They fought a war against the Vorthak Empire billions of years ago, and lost. But before they died, they built a network of hidden weapons across thousands of star systems. "Why hide weapons for so long?" Heejin asked. "Because they knew that someday another species would rise up to challenge the Vorthak. They built the weapon network as their final gift to whoever would continue their fight for freedom." Woojin studied the technical data scrolling across the screen. "Doctor, how many weapon sites are there?" "According to the Veltar records, over 10,000 locations scattered across the galaxy. Each site contains weapons far more powerful than our ghost guns, but they can only be activated by someone willing to make the ultimate sacrifice." "What kind of sacrifice?" Daeho asked, though he was afraid of the answer. "The activation process requires the life force of the person who initiates it. The Veltar believed that only someone willing to die for others should have access to such power." The medical bay fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. The fragments were not just keys to finding Haven. They were keys to the most powerful weapons in the galaxy. Weapons that could destroy the Vorthak Empire but would kill whoever used them. "There is more," Dr. Sung-ho continued. "The Vorthak Empire knows about the Veltar weapons. They have been searching for the activation keys for thousands of years. That is why they really came to Earth. They detected the energy signature when we built our first ghost gun prototype." "So the invasion of Earth was not random," Jinwoo said. "Nothing the Vorthak do is random. They came to Earth specifically to find and destroy the activation keys before any species could use them against the Empire." Taemin looked at the fragment in his hands with new understanding. "Then every fragment we collect makes us a bigger target." "Yes, but it also brings us closer to the power we need to free every enslaved species in the galaxy." Dr. Heejin began packing up her medical supplies. "How do we know this is not a trap? How do we know you are really Dr. Sung-ho Baek?" The old scientist smiled sadly. "Doctor, I can prove my identity in a way that no Vorthak spy could fake." He rolled up his sleeve to reveal a surgical scar on his forearm. 3 years ago, you treated this injury when I fell during an evacuation drill on Mars Station. You used a new kind of synthetic bone grafting that left this specific scar pattern." Heejin examined the scar carefully and nodded. "It is him. I remember that procedure." "Then we have our expert on ancient alien technology," Daeho said. "Doctor, can you help us locate and activate the weapon network?" "I can help you find the weapons, Commander, but I cannot help you survive using them. The Veltar were very clear about the cost. Ultimate power requires ultimate sacrifice." Woojin gathered his intelligence files. "We should reach Proxima Station in 18 hours. Doctor, what kind of defenses should we expect?" "The station's automatic systems are still running, but they will recognize my command codes. The real danger comes from what else might be waiting there." "What do you mean?" So Young asked. "The Vorthak have been monitoring all the abandoned Earth facilities. If they detected our approach to Kepler 442b, they will be watching Proxima Station too. We may not be the only ones looking for the second fragment." As the Phantom's Edge changed course toward the Centauri system, Daeho thought about the choice ahead of them. They could collect all 7 fragments, find Haven, and bring 3 billion humans home to live in hiding. Or they could activate the Veltar weapon network, destroy the Vorthak Empire, and free the entire galaxy at the cost of their own lives. It was not really a choice at all. It was the difference between surviving and truly living free. The mission to Proxima Station had been too easy. Commander Daeho stood in the command center of the research facility, watching Engineer Taemin extract the second coordinate fragment from the main computer core. Dr. Seung-ho worked beside him, his experienced hands moving quickly over the ancient control panels. "Fragment secured," Taemin announced, holding up another crystal disk. "But Commander, the station's sensors show 3 Vorthak scout ships approaching from the outer system." Captain Jinwoo checked his tactical display aboard the Phantom's Edge, which was docked to the station's main airlock. "They are still 6 hours away, but they are definitely heading for us. We need to finish here and move to the next target." The next target was New Busan, a colonial world that housed 2 million human settlers. According to their intelligence, the third fragment was hidden in the colony's central government building. But New Busan was different from the mining colony. It was still under human control and had been negotiating with the Vorthak Empire for protection. Dr. Hyejin finished downloading medical data from the station's research files. These records show that the Veltar weapons network is even larger than we thought. Over 50,000 weapon sites across the galaxy, each one capable of destroying entire fleets. Weapons specialist So Young tested her ghost gun's power levels. The weapon had recharged fully during their time on the station, but she was worried about the energy drain they had discovered. "Dr. Seung-ho, why do the ghost guns use more power in some situations?" she asked. The old scientist looked up from his work. "The weapons draw energy from local space-time distortions. In areas where the Vorthak have been using their technology heavily, the distortions are stronger, and the guns need more power to function properly." Intelligence Officer Woo Jin gathered data files from the station's communication array. "I have been monitoring Vorthak military channels. They know we are collecting the fragments. Fleet Admiral Sektar has been assigned to hunt us down." "Who is Fleet Admiral Sektar?" Daeho asked. "The Vorthak Empire's most successful military commander. He has conquered more worlds than any other admiral in their history. If he is hunting us, our mission just became much more dangerous." As they prepared to leave Proxima Station, a priority message arrived on the communication system. The signal was coming from New Busan and was marked with high-level government encryption codes. "This is Governor Ah Shin of New Busan Colony," a woman's voice said. "I am sending this message to any Earth Defense Force ships in the area. We have information about Vorthak fleet movements and request immediate contact." Jinwoo looked suspicious. "Commander, this could be a trap. New Busan has been cooperating with the Vorthak for months. Or it could be genuine intelligence that saves lives," Daeho replied. "We need that fragment, and Governor Shin might be able to help us get it without fighting through the entire colonial defense force." The journey to New Busan took 2 days. During that time, the team studied everything they could find about the colony and its government. New Busan was a beautiful world with blue oceans and green continents. Most of its 2 million citizens lived in modern cities that looked almost exactly like the cities on Earth. But something felt wrong as soon as they entered the system. There were too many Vorthak ships in orbit around the planet, military vessels that had no reason to be there if New Busan was truly a peaceful colony under Empire protection. "I count 12 destroyers and 4 cruisers," So Young reported from the weapons console. "That is enough firepower to destroy the entire colony twice over." "Governor Shin, this is Captain Song of the Earth Defense Ship Phantom's Edge. We received your message and request permission to approach your world." "Captain Song, welcome to New Busan. Please follow the approach vector I am transmitting. We have much to discuss about your mission." Woo Jin immediately began analyzing the communication. "Commander, Governor Shin just revealed that she knows about our mission. We never mentioned why we are here." "That is not necessarily suspicious," Dr. Seung-ho said. "The colonial governments were briefed about the evacuation plan before Earth fell. She might know about the fragments." But as the Phantom's Edge descended toward New Busan's capital city, Daeho felt increasingly uncomfortable. The Vorthak ships in orbit were tracking their movement too carefully. The landing coordinates led them to a government facility that was surrounded by armed guards. Governor Ah Shin met them at the landing pad with a full ceremonial escort. She was a woman in her 50s with carefully styled hair and expensive clothes. Her smile seemed genuine, but her eyes were nervous. Captain Song. Commander Kim, welcome to New Busan. I apologize for the heavy security, but these are dangerous times. Governor Shin, we appreciate your assistance, Daeho said carefully. We understand you have information about Vorthak fleet movements. Indeed I do. But first let me introduce you to my chief advisor, Hyunwoo Kwon. A tall man stepped forward from behind the governor. He wore civilian clothes but moved like a soldier. His expression was cold and calculating. Commander Kim, Captain Song, it is an honor to meet the heroes who have been causing so much trouble for the Vorthak Empire, Hyunwoo said with a smile that did not reach his eyes. Something in his tone made So Young's hand move closer to her weapon. Taemin noticed that the government guards were positioning themselves to block all the exits from the landing pad. Mr. Kwon, what kind of information do you have for us? Jinwoo asked. The most valuable information of all, Captain. The location of Fleet Admiral Sektar and his entire battle fleet. They are currently 3 star systems away, searching for you in the wrong direction. How do you know where the Admiral's fleet is located? Woo Jin asked suspiciously. Hyunwoo's smile grew wider. Because I told him where to look, of course. And now I'm going to tell him where to find you. The trap was sprung with military precision. Hidden weapon emplacements rose from the landing pad surface. Government guards drew their weapons and aimed them at the human team. Energy barriers activated around the landing area, cutting off all escape routes. Governor Shin looked genuinely shocked. Hyunwoo, what are you doing? These people are here to help us. Governor, these people are here to collect ancient weapons that will bring total war to our galaxy. New Busan has negotiated a peace agreement with the Vorthak Empire. We will not allow these terrorists to destroy our chance for survival. Daeho realized that Hyunwoo was not just a traitor. He was a true believer who thought cooperation with the Vorthak was humanity's only hope. Commander, the Vorthak have offered protection to all human colonies that cooperate with them. Your war is pointless. Earth is gone. Humanity's future lies in accepting our place as a subject species. Our place is not as slaves, Dr. Hyejin said angrily. Better slaves than extinct, Hyunwoo replied. Governor Shin, please signal the Vorthak fleet. Tell them we have captured the terrorist leaders. But Governor Shin was staring at her chief advisor with horror. Hyunwoo, you have been reporting our conversations to the Vorthak. You have been spying on our own people. I have been protecting our people, Governor. Sometimes protection requires difficult choices. The standoff was broken when explosions erupted across the capital city. Resistance fighters who had been waiting in hiding launched simultaneous attacks on Vorthak facilities throughout New Busan. The surprise assault created enough chaos for the trapped team to fight back. So Young's ghost gun cut through the energy barriers like they were made of paper. Taemin and Dr. Sung-ho ran for the government building while the others provided covering fire. But as they fought their way through the city streets, Daeho knew that everything had changed. The Vorthak now knew exactly what they were doing and where they were going. Hyunwoo's betrayal had given the Empire all the information they needed to set more traps. Worse, the betrayal showed that some humans were willing to accept slavery in exchange for safety. Not everyone wanted to be free if freedom meant fighting impossible battles. As explosions lit up the sky above New Busan, Daeho wondered if they were fighting for a species that had already given up hope. The escape from New Busan had cost them Captain Bo Ram Lee. Commander Daeho stood in the cargo bay of the Phantom's Edge, staring at the empty space where his second-in-command should have been standing. She had stayed behind to hold off Vorthak reinforcements, while the rest of the team escaped with the third fragment. Her sacrifice had saved their mission but left a hole in his heart. Engineer Taemin held 3 crystal fragments in his hands, each one glowing with soft blue light. The technical data contained in the fragments was becoming clearer as Dr. Sung-ho studied the combined information. The fragments are not just activation keys, the old scientist explained. They are also maps. Each one shows the location of major Veltar weapon sites across the galaxy. How many sites are we talking about? Captain Jinwoo asked as he piloted the ship through hyperspace. According to these readings, over 300 primary installations. Each site contains enough firepower to destroy an entire Vorthak battle fleet. Intelligence Officer Woo Jin looked up from his analysis of captured New Busan communications. The betrayal at New Busan has given Fleet Admiral Sektar detailed information about our mission. He knows we are collecting fragments and he knows about the ancient weapons. Dr. Hyojin finished treating the wounds from their latest battle. 3 team members had been injured during the fighting in New Busan's capital, but everyone would survive. "Where do we find the 4th fragment?" she asked. Dr. Sung-ho activated a holographic display showing a distant star system, Titan's Shadow, a planet in the Outer Rim territories. But this location is different from the others. According to the Veltar records, it is not just where a fragment is hidden. It is where the weapons were manufactured. Weapons specialist So Young checked her ghost gun power levels. The weapon had performed well during the New Busan escape, but she was running low on energy cells. "A weapons manufacturing site could have supplies we need," she said. "My ghost gun ammunition is nearly exhausted." "There is something else," Dr. Sung-ho continued. "The Veltar records mention guardians at the manufacturing sites. Artificial intelligence is left behind to test anyone who seeks to use their weapons." "Test them how?" Daeho asked. "The records are not clear. But the Veltar believed that their weapons should only be used by species that understood the true cost of war." The journey to Titan's Shadow took 4 days. During that time, the team studied everything they could find about the ancient Veltar civilization. The records painted a picture of a peaceful species that had been forced into war by Vorthak aggression billions of years ago. The Veltar were scientists and explorers. Dr. Sung-ho explained as they reviewed historical data. They never wanted to build weapons of mass destruction, but when the Vorthak Empire began conquering their worlds, they had no choice. "What happened to them?" Taemin asked. "They lost the war, but not before hiding their weapons technology across the galaxy. Their final message says they hoped that someday another species would find the courage to finish what they started." Titan's Shadow was a dark world orbiting a dying red star. Its surface was covered with ancient ruins that stretched for hundreds of kilometers in every direction. Massive stone structures rose from the ground like sleeping giants, their purpose hidden by millions of years of erosion. "Sensors are detecting artificial structures beneath the surface," Jin Woo reported as they entered orbit. "Something big, really big. There." Dr. Sung-ho pointed at a section of ruins near the planet's equator. "The fragment signal is coming from that area." As the Phantom's edge descended toward the surface, the scale of the ancient site became clear. The ruins were not just buildings. They were the remains of a manufacturing complex that had once covered an entire continent. "This place built starships," Woo Jin said in amazement. "Look at those assembly structures. They are big enough to construct vessels the size of space stations." The landing site was a cleared area near what appeared to be the main entrance to the underground facility. Strange symbols covered the entrance, glowing with the same blue light as the coordinate fragments. "The symbols are responding to the fragments," Taemin observed. "They know we are here." As the team prepared to enter the ancient facility, the symbols began to move and change. The entrance itself started to open, revealing a corridor that descended deep into the planet's interior. "Welcome, inheritors of the burden," a voice said in perfect human language. The voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Who speaks?" Daeho called out. "I am the keeper of the arsenal. I have waited 4 billion years for someone to pass the trials and claim the weapons of the Veltar." The corridor lit up with soft blue light, revealing walls covered with more symbols and technical diagrams. As they walked deeper into the facility, the scale of the place became overwhelming. Chambers the size of aircraft hangars stretched in all directions, filled with machinery that still hummed with power after eons of waiting. "The trials will test your understanding of sacrifice, your commitment to others, and your wisdom in using power," the keeper's voice explained. "Many species have found this place over the millennia. All have failed." "What happened to the ones who failed?" Dr. Hyojin asked. "They chose power over wisdom or personal gain over the greater good. The weapons of the Veltar cannot be claimed by those who would use them for conquest." The first trial chamber contained a holographic display showing various scenarios. In each scenario, the team had to choose between saving their own lives and protecting innocent civilians from Vorthak attacks. "This is too easy," So Young said. "Obviously, we choose to save the civilians." "But what if saving the civilians means the mission fails and humanity remains in exile forever?" the keeper asked. The scenarios became more complex. Save a small group of humans or preserve the weapons needed to free billions of aliens. Sacrifice one team member to save the others or risk everyone to save one person. Use the ancient weapons to destroy the Vorthak Empire or find a way to defeat them without committing genocide. Each choice revealed something about human nature. The team consistently chose to protect others, even at great cost to themselves. They chose difficult solutions over easy ones, and mercy over vengeance. Interesting, the keeper said after they completed the scenarios. Your species shows the same patterns as the Veltar. You understand that true strength comes from lifting others up, not from tearing them down. The second trial was physical. The team had to navigate a maze filled with dangerous obstacles while carrying simulated wounded comrades. The point was not to reach the end quickly, but to ensure that no one was left behind. Taimin struggled with his wounded arm from the New Busan battle, but So Young and Dr. Hai Jin helped him through the difficult sections. When Wu Jin fell and injured his leg, the entire team stopped to help him rather than continue without him. You passed the trial of loyalty, the keeper announced. But the final trial is the most difficult. The third trial chamber contained a single weapon. It looked like a larger version of So Young's ghost gun, but with power levels that could destroy entire star systems. This weapon can end the Vorthak Empire in a single shot, the keeper explained, but using it will drain the life force of whoever fires it. They will die instantly, and their sacrifice will free every enslaved species in the galaxy. There has to be another way, Dr. He-jin said. There is always another way, the keeper replied, but it requires more time, more sacrifice from many people, and no guarantee of success. The question is whether you have the patience for a longer path or the courage for a shorter one. Daeho stared at the weapon. One shot to free the galaxy, one life to save billions. The mathematics were simple, but the choice was not. What did the Veltar choose? He asked. The Veltar chose the longer path. They hid their weapons and trusted that someday others would find the wisdom to use them properly. They could have destroyed the Vorthak Empire, but they chose hope over vengeance. And they lost the war because of it. They lost the war, but they kept their souls. The question now is what choice your species will make. As the team stood before the ultimate weapon, alarms began sounding throughout the facility. Wu Jin checked his communication device and his face went pale. Commander, Fleet Admiral Sektar has found us. 50 Vorthak ships just entered the system. The choice between immediate power and patient wisdom would have to wait. The enemy had arrived and the final battle was about to begin.